A space station called Nexus Prime floated quietly among the stars. It was huge, with white metal walls and glowing blue lights that marked where the alien scientists worked. Ships from many different worlds came and went each day, bringing visitors who wanted to learn about the mind. Jake Morrison walked down the long hallway, carrying his toolbox. He was a human engineer, new to this place. The hallway was wide enough for creatures much bigger than him. Strange writing covered the walls in languages he could not read. The air smelled different here, like metal and something sweet he could not name. Jake had been working on Nexus Prime for only 2 weeks. His job was to fix things when they broke. Pipes, computers, lights. He kept them all working. The pay was good, and he liked seeing new places. But he missed Earth. He missed the smell of rain and the sound of birds in the morning dot as he turned a corner. Jake heard voices coming from behind a thick door. The voices did not sound happy. One voice was high and clicking, like insects talking. Another was deep and rumbling. They were speaking in the common language that most aliens used to talk to each other. "The subject is getting worse," said the clicking voice. "We have tried everything. Nothing works." 5 years, said the deep voice. 5 years of testing. Maybe we should give up. Jake stopped walking. He was curious about what they meant. Who was the subject? What were they trying to do? The door opened suddenly. A tall, thin creature came out. It looked like a giant praying mantis, but it wore a white coat like doctors on Earth. Its big eyes turned to look at Jake. The creature's name was Dr. Kethfer, though Jake did not know this yet. "Human," Dr. Kethfer said in the common language. His voice made the clicking sounds Jake had heard. "You should not be here. This area is restricted." "Sorry," Jake said. He held up his toolbox. "I got a work order to check the air system on this level." Dr. Kethfer's big eyes stared at Jake for a long moment. Then he stepped aside. "Be quick. Do not disturb our work." Jake nodded and walked past the doctor. But as he moved down the hall, he heard something that made him stop. It was a sound like crying, but not quite human. It was sad and broken, like an animal that had been hurt badly. Jake looked around. The hallway was empty except for him. The sound was coming from another room, one with a window in the door. Jake knew he should keep walking and do his job. But something about that sound pulled at him. He walked to the window and looked inside. The room was white and clean, like a hospital room on Earth. In the center was a chair, and in the chair sat a young woman. But she was not human. Her skin was blue and seemed to glow softly, like crystal. Her hair was white and moved gently, as if she was underwater. She was beautiful in a way that was completely alien, but something was very wrong with her. The blue woman sat with her arms wrapped around herself. She rocked back and forth slowly. Her glowing skin flickered and changed colors, blue to purple, to red and back again. The air around her seemed to shake and bend. Jake had never seen anything like it. The woman looked up suddenly, as if she could feel Jake watching her. Her eyes met his through the window. They were silver, like mirrors, and full of pain that Jake could feel in his chest. She stared at him for a moment, then looked away quickly. Jake put his hand on the door handle, but it would not turn. The door was locked. He knocked gently on the window. The blue woman looked up again, surprised. "Can you hear me?" Jake asked through the glass. The woman tilted her head like she was listening to something far away. Then she nodded slowly. "Are you okay?" Jake asked. The woman's eyes filled with tears that sparkled like stars. She shook her head. Before Jake could say anything else, Dr. Kethfer appeared beside him. "What are you doing?" The doctor demanded. "I told you not to disturb our work." "Who is she?" Jake asked. "Why is she locked up?" Dr. Kethfer's big eyes looked at Jake with something like surprise. "That is Zara. She is our patient, and she is very dangerous." "Dangerous?" "She looks hurt. She is hurt," Dr. Kethver said. "Her mind is broken. She cannot bond with others of her kind. When we try to help her, she hurts us without meaning to. Many doctors have been injured trying to heal her." Jake looked back at Zara. She was watching them talk, but she could not hear through the thick glass. "What happened to her?" Jake asked. Dr. Kethver was quiet for a moment. "Bad people took her when she was young. They hurt her mind so badly that she cannot trust anyone. She cannot let anyone close to her thoughts. For her people, this is like being unable to breathe." "Her people?" "The Etherians. They share their minds with each other. It is how they live, how they love. But Zara cannot do this anymore. She is alone in a way that you cannot understand." Jake looked at Zara again. She had gone back to rocking in her chair. The colors in her skin were getting darker, more angry. "Has anyone tried just talking to her?" Jake asked. Dr. Kethver made a sound, like laughing, but not happy. "Talking? Human, you do not understand. Her mind reaches out to hurt anyone who comes near. She cannot control it. Talking will not fix what is broken inside her head." "But has anyone tried?" The doctor did not answer. He walked away, expecting Jake to follow. But Jake stayed at the window for a moment longer. Zara looked up at him one more time. This time, she did not look away. Jake had seen that look before. It was the same look he had seen in the mirror after the accident on Europa when he lost his friends in the mine. Collapse. It was the look of someone who had given up hope. But Jake had learned something important after Europa. Sometimes the best way to help someone was not to try to fix them. Sometimes you just had to show them that they were not alone. Jake made a decision that would change everything. He would find a way to talk to Zara, not as a doctor or scientist, but as a friend. Jake spent the next 3 days thinking about Zara. Every time he walked past the medical wing, he wanted to stop and look through her window again. But Dr. Kethver had made it clear that humans were not welcome in that area. On the 4th day, Jake found his chance. The night shift was quieter, with fewer doctors around. Jake finished his work early and made his way to the medical wing. He brought something with him, a small, flowering plant from the station's garden area. The hallway was dark, except for the soft blue lights that never went off. Jake walked quietly to Zara's room and looked through the window. She was sitting in the same chair, but now she was staring at the wall. Her skin was a dull gray color, and she looked very tired. Jake knocked softly on the window. Zara turned to look at him. Her silver eyes were empty, like she had stopped caring about anything. Jake held up the small plant so she could see it. It had tiny white flowers that glowed softly in the dim light. Zara's eyes focused on the plant, and for a moment her skin flickered with a hint of blue. Jake looked around the hallway. There was no one else there. He found a control panel next to the door and pressed some buttons. He did not know what most of them did, but he was good with machines. After a few tries, he heard a soft click. The door unlocked. Jake opened the door slowly and stepped inside. Immediately, he felt something strange. The air in the room felt thick and heavy, like the moments before a thunderstorm. His head started to hurt, and he felt dizzy. "You should not be here," Zara said. Her voice was soft but sad. She spoke the common language, but with an accent that made it sound like music. "I will hurt you without meaning to." "I know," Jake said. He stayed near the door, not wanting to scare her. "But I brought you something." He held out the plant. Zara looked at it with curiosity. "What is it?" she asked. "It's a flower from my world, Earth. We call it a daisy." Jake set the plant on a small table near the door. I thought you might like something pretty to look at. Zara stared at the daisy for a long time. Slowly, she stood up from her chair and walked toward it. As she got closer to Jake, the strange feeling in the air got stronger. Jake's head hurt more, but he did not move away. You feel it, Zara said. It was not a question. The pain I cause. Why do you not run? Jake thought. About this. I felt pain before. This isn't so bad. Zara reached out and touched one of the daisy's petals with her finger. The flower glowed a little brighter when she touched it. It is beautiful, she said. But it will die soon, away from its home. Maybe, Jake said. But it's still beautiful. Now, Zara looked at him with those silver eyes. What is your name? Jake. Jake Morrison. I am Zara. She sat down on the floor next to the table, still looking at the flower. Why did you bring this to me, Jake Morrison? Jake sat down too, keeping some distance between them. Because you looked sad. And I know what it's like to be alone. You do not know, Zara said, but her voice was not angry. Your people do not. Bond like mine do. You cannot understand what it means to be cut off from all others. Maybe not exactly, Jake said, but I lost my whole team in an accident once. 5 good people who trusted me to keep them safe. After that, I didn't want to be close to anyone for a long time. I was afraid I would get them hurt, too. Zara looked at him with new interest. You blame yourself for their deaths. Every day. Jake picked up a small piece of lint from the floor. The doctors told me it wasn't my fault. Said there was nothing I could have done. But knowing something in your head and feeling it in your heart are different things. Yes, Zara whispered. They are very different. They sat in silence for a while. Jake noticed that the strange feeling in the air was getting weaker. Zara's skin was slowly turning from gray to a soft blue. The doctor's here, Jake said eventually. They're trying to help you, right? Zara's skin flickered red for a moment. They try. But they want to fix me like I am a broken machine. They push into my mind and try to force me to connect with them. It hurts. What would help? Jake asked. If you could choose? Zara was quiet for a long time. I do not know. I have been broken for so long, I do not remember what it felt like to be whole. Maybe you don't need to be fixed, Jake said. Maybe you just need time to heal. Zara stared at him. What is the difference? Fixing means someone else decides what's wrong with you and changes it. Healing means you get better at your own pace, in your own way. Before Zara could answer, the door burst open. Dr. Kethfar rushed in, followed by 2 other alien doctors. One looked like a tall, blue-skinned woman with tentacles for hair. The other was covered in fur and had big yellow eyes. Human, Dr. Kethfar clicked angrily. What are you doing? You could have been killed. I'm fine, Jake said, standing up slowly. We were just talking. Talking? The blue woman stepped forward. I am Dr. Velinara. I can read minds, human. This subject's psychic field is highly unstable. Being near her without protection is extremely dangerous. Jake looked at Zara, who had moved back to her chair. Her skin was turning gray again, and she looked frightened. She didn't hurt me, Jake said. This time, Dr. Velinara said. Her control is weak. She could lose it at any moment and damage her mind permanently. Have you asked her what she wants? Jake asked, instead of just trying things on her. The 3 doctors looked at each other. Dr. Kethfar spoke first. Human, you do not understand the situation. We are trying to help her reconnect with her people. The bonding process requires. Have you asked her? Jake said again, louder this. Time. The doctors were quiet. Jake looked at Zara. Zara, do you want them to try the bonding process again? Zara looked scared, but she shook her head. No, it hurts too much. Then don't do it, Jake said to the doctors. Try something else. Dr. Velanara stepped closer to Jake. He could feel something strange, like someone trying to look inside his head. Your mind is ... unusual, she said, sounding surprised. How? Are you resisting her psychic field? I'm not trying to resist anything, Jake said. I'm just being her friend. Friend? Dr. Kethfer made that laughing sound again. Humans do not understand psychic bonding. You cannot be friends with someone whose mind can destroy yours. Jake looked back at Zara. She was watching him with those silver eyes, and he could see hope there for the first time. Watch me, Jake said. Jake started visiting Zara every day after his work was done. The doctors did not like it, but they could not stop him. He was not doing anything against the rules. He was just sitting and talking with her. Each day, Jake brought something small. Sometimes it was food from the station's cafeteria. Sometimes it was pictures of Earth on his datapad. Once, he brought music from his home planet. Zara liked the music best. She said it reminded her of rain, which her people loved. Tell me about your world, Jake said one evening. They were sitting on the floor of her room, sharing some Earth chocolate that Jake had saved from his last supply shipment. Zara's skin glowed softly blue as she spoke. My world is called Etheria. It has 3 suns, so the sky is always bright. The ground is covered with crystal formations that sing when the wind blows through them. That sounds beautiful, Jake said. It is, Zara said. Then her glow dimmed. Or it was. I have not seen it in 6 years. The doctors said bad people took you when you were young. Zara nodded. Her skin turned dark purple. The color Jake had learned meant she was remembering something painful. The Void Syndicate. They steal people like me, people with psychic abilities. They tried to turn us into weapons. Jake felt anger rise in his chest. What did they do to you? They would force me to feel other people's pain. When they tortured prisoners, they made me experience everything the prisoners felt. They wanted me to learn to cause pain instead of heal it. Zara's voice became very quiet. After a while, my mind broke. I could not control my abilities anymore. I hurt everyone I tried to connect with. How did you get away? I did not escape. The Galactic Federation rescued me during a raid on the Syndicate base. But by then, the damage was done. My mind was shattered into pieces. Jake reached out slowly and put his hand near hers on the floor. Not touching, but close. I'm sorry that happened to you. Why? Zara asked. You did not do it. Because no. One should have to go through that alone. Zara looked at his hand, so close to hers. If I touch you, I will hurt you. My broken mind will attack yours. What if it doesn't? Jake asked. It always does. But what if this time is different? Before Zara could answer, Dr. Velanara entered the room. She had been watching Jake's visits with growing interest. Her tentacle hair moved slowly as she studied them both. Human, she said, I need to speak with you. Jake stood up. What about? Your brain patterns are unlike anything we have seen. When you are near Zara, her psychic field stabilizes. This should not be possible. Maybe you're looking at it wrong. Jake said. Dr. Velanara moved closer. What do you mean? You keep trying to force her mind to connect with yours. But what if the problem isn't that she can't connect? What if the problem is that she's afraid to? Fear does not explain the psychic damage she causes. Dr. Velanara said. Jake looked at Zara, who was listening to their conversation. Zara, when? You tried to connect with the doctors. What do you feel? Fear, Zara said immediately, and anger, and the need to push them away before they can hurt me. And when you're with me? Zara thought about this. Safe, calm, like the pressure in my head gets lighter. Dr. Velanara's tentacles moved faster. This is very interesting. Human, would you allow us to scan your brain while you interact with? Zara? Only if Zara says it's okay, Jake said. Zara nodded slowly. I want to understand too. The next day, Dr. Velinara brought strange machines into Zara's room. She placed sensors on both Jake's and Zara's heads. Dr. Kethver operated the equipment while the Blue Doctor watched the readings. Now, Dr. Velinara said, try to make the connection you usually make. Jake looked at Zara. I don't think I make any connection. I just talk to her. Do what you normally do, Dr. Kethver said. Jake sat down next to Zara. How are you feeling? Today? Better when you are here, Zara said. As they talked, the machines started making soft beeping sounds. Dr. Velinara stared at the readings with amazement. Incredible, she whispered. Dr. Kethver, are you seeing this? I see it, but I do not understand it, the Mantis Doctor replied. What's happening? Jake asked. Dr. Velinara turned to him with excitement. Your brain is adapting to Zara's psychic frequency in real time. Most species have fixed mental patterns. When we try to bond with someone different, we either force our pattern onto them or they force theirs onto us. But you change your pattern to match hers without losing yourself. Is that bad? Jake asked. It is revolutionary, Dr. Kethver sighed. You are creating a safe space for her mind to exist without pressure. No wonder her psychic field stabilizes around you. Jake did not understand all the technical words, but he got the basic idea. So I'm not trying to fix her. I'm just giving her room to be herself. Exactly, Dr. Velinara said. But there is more. Zara, your readings show that you are beginning to heal. The fractures in your psychic matrix are slowly repairing themselves. Zara looked surprised. They are? Yes, the human's presence is allowing your natural healing abilities to work. It is as if his mind is providing the stability you need to put yourself back together. Jake felt a warm feeling in his chest. So she's going to be okay? If this continues, yes, Dr. Velinara said. But Jake, this means you are more important than you know. Humans might be the key to healing psychic trauma across the galaxy. Before anyone could say more, alarms started blaring throughout the station. Red lights flashed, and a mechanical voice announced, Warning, unknown ships approaching. All personnel to emergency stations. Double quotes. Dr. Kethver checked his communication device. His big eyes widened with fear. What is it? Jake asked. Void Syndicate ships, Dr. Kethver said. They are coming for Zara. Zara's skin turned completely black, and the air in the room began to shake. No, she whispered. Not again. I cannot go back there. Jake moved closer to her, ignoring the painful pressure building in his head. You won't go back, I promise. You cannot stop them, Zara said. Her voice was filled with terror. They are too strong. The station shook as the first enemy weapons hit its shields. Through the window, Jake could see dark ships with red markings closing in. Maybe I can't stop them, Jake said, reaching out his hand to Zara. But I won't let you face them alone. Zara looked at his outstretched hand. Around them, the alarms continued to scream, and the station shook under attack. After a moment of hesitation, she reached out and took his hand. The moment their skin touched, something amazing happened. Instead of the usual painful psychic blast, Jake felt a warm, gentle connection form between their minds. It was like two rivers flowing together, different, but in harmony. How? Zara gasped, staring at their joined hands. I don't know, Jake said, but we'll figure it out together. Through their new connection, Jake could feel Zara's fear, but also her growing hope. For the first time in 6 years, she was not alone in her mind. Outside, the Void Syndicate ships moved closer, ready to take back what they considered their property. But they had no idea that everything had just changed. The station shook again as more enemy fire hit the shields. Through their new mental connection, Jake could feel Zara's panic growing stronger. Her memories of the Void Syndicate were like dark storms in her mind. All medical staff to emergency. Stations, Dr. Kethver said, reading from his communication device. We must evacuate the patients. I cannot leave, Zara said, her skin flickering between blue and black. If they take me, it will hurt everyone here to get to me. No one is taking you anywhere, Jake said firmly. He squeezed her hand tighter, and the connection between their minds grew stronger. Dr. Velenara was still staring at the readings from her machines. This is remarkable. The bond between you two is completely stable. Zara, your psychic output is stronger than it has ever been, but it is controlled. Another explosion rocked the station. The lights flickered, and somewhere in the distance, Jake could hear people shouting. We need to get to a safer place, Dr. Kethver said. The medical wing has better shields. They started to move toward the door, but it slid open before they reached it. A tall figure in black armor stepped inside. The armor was covered with sharp spikes, and a red symbol glowed on the chest. Behind the figure's helmet, Jake could see glowing red eyes. Commander Sektoth, Zara whispered, her voice full of terror. The armored figure looked at Zara, then at Jake. So, the broken weapon has found a handler. How interesting. Stay away from her, Jake said, stepping in front of Zara. Commander Sektoth laughed, a sound like metal scraping on stone. Human, you do not understand what you are dealing with. That creature belongs to us. We made her what she is. You tortured a child, Jake said angrily. That doesn't make her yours. We took a weak empath and turned her into something powerful. The fact that she broke during the process was unfortunate. But now it seems we can fix that problem. 2 more Syndicate soldiers entered the room. They carried weapons that hummed with energy. Dr. Kethver and Dr. Velenara backed away, but there was nowhere to go. The human stays alive, Commander Sektoth ordered his soldiers. He may be useful. The others are not needed. The soldiers raised their weapons toward the doctors. Jake felt Zara's anger spike through their connection, and suddenly the air in the room became electric. The lights exploded in showers of sparks. No, Zara said, her voice echoing strangely. You will not hurt them. Commander Sektoth turned to her with interest. There is the power I remember. But you are still weak, broken thing. You cannot control it. She's not alone anymore, Jake said. Through their bond, he sent Zara all the calm and strength he could manage. And she's not broken. She's healing. Zara's skin began to glow with bright blue light. But instead of the chaotic energy Jake had seen before, this was steady and controlled. She stood up slowly, still holding Jake's hand. I am not your weapon, she said to Commander Sektoth. I never was. The Syndicate commander stepped closer. You killed 17 of my soldiers the last time we met. The rage, the uncontrolled. Psychic blast that tore their minds apart. That is what you truly are. Jake felt Zara's memory of that day through their connection. The Syndicate had been torturing other prisoners, and young Zara had lost control. Her psychic scream had indeed killed the soldiers, but it had also damaged her own mind even more. That was an accident, Zara said, but her voice shook. Was it? Commander Sektoth asked. Or was it the first time you embraced what we made you to be? Jake squeezed Zara's hand. Don't listen to him. You know who you really are. But Jake could feel doubt creeping into Zara's mind. The memories of that day were painful and confusing. She had been trying to protect the other prisoners, but the result had been death and destruction. Commander Sektoth sensed her uncertainty. You see? Deep down, you know the truth. You are a killer. A weapon. And weapons belong to those who can use them properly. The station shook again. Through the broken window, Jake could see Syndicate soldiers moving through the corridors. The station's defenders were losing. "Zara," Jake said quietly, "what do you want to do?" Zara looked at him through their mental connection. Jake could feel her fear, her doubt, but also something else. Determination. "I want to protect people," she said, "not hurt them." "Then that's what we'll do." Commander Sektoth raised his own weapon. "Enough talking. You will come with us, or everyone in this room dies." But before he could fire, Zara did something unexpected. Instead of lashing out with destructive psychic energy, she reached out gently with her mind toward Dr. Kethver and Dr. Velinara. "What are you doing?" Dr. Velinara gasped. "Protecting you," Zara said. Through Jake's stabilizing influence, she was able to create a psychic shield around the doctors without hurting them. It was something she had never been able to do before. "Commander." Sektoth fired his weapon, but the energy blast bounced off Zara's shield. His red eyes widened behind his helmet. "Impossible. Your control was completely destroyed." "I got better," Zara said simply. More Syndicate soldiers poured into the room, but Zara's shield held them back. Jake could feel the effort it was taking. Her, even with his help. Through their bond, he shared his strength with her. "This cannot last," Dr. Kethver said. "There are too many of them." Jake looked around the room. The doctors were right. They were trapped. But through his connection with Zara, he could sense something else. Other minds throughout the station, people who were scared and fighting for their lives. "Zara," he said, "can you reach the other people on the station? The ones who are fighting?" Zara's eyes widened as she understood what he was asking. I could try, but I have never connected to so many minds at once." "You don't have to connect to them," Jake said. "Just help them. Give them hope." Commander Sektoth was ordering his soldiers to find a way around the shield. "Bring explosives. We will blast through." But Zara was already reaching out with her mind, guided by Jake's steady presence. Across the station, defenders who were about to give up suddenly felt new strength. Scientists who were hiding felt the courage to help. Even some of the Syndicate soldiers began to hesitate, touched by Zara's empathic abilities. "What is happening?" Commander Sektoth demanded, pressing buttons on his arm computer. "My soldiers are not responding." Through their bond, Jake felt what Zara was doing. She was not attacking anyone's mind or forcing them to do anything. Instead, she was simply showing them a choice: continue fighting for a cruel organization, or choose something better. Many of the Syndicate soldiers, who had been forced to serve through fear and conditioning, began to lay down their weapons. "Stop this," Commander Sektoth shouted at Zara. "You are mine. I created you." "No," Zara said, her voice calm but strong. "I created myself, with help from my friend." The shield around them began to glow brighter, but Jake could feel through their connection that Zara was getting tired. She could not keep this up much longer. That was when the cavalry arrived. The wall exploded inward as Captain Lisa Hayes and her security team burst into the room. They wore the blue uniforms of the human space fleet, and they carried weapons that glowed with bright energy. "Jake!" Captain Hayes shouted when she saw him. "Are you hurt?" "I'm okay," Jake called back, still holding Zara's hand. "But we need help." Captain Hayes looked around the room quickly. She saw the Syndicate soldiers, Commander Sektoth in his black armor, and the glowing shield that protected Jake and the others. "Syndicate forces, you are surrounded," she announced. "Surrender now." Commander Sektoth turned his red eyes toward her. "Humans, you do not understand what you are interfering with. That creature is a weapon of mass destruction. That creature has a name," Captain Hayes said firmly. "And she's under our protection now." Through their mental bond, Jake felt Zara's surprise and gratitude. No one had ever stood up for her like this before. "Captain," Jake said, "Zara is helping people all. Over the station. She's making the Syndicate soldiers remember who they really are." Captain Hayes nodded. Through her communication device, she had been hearing reports from all over Nexus Prime. Syndicate soldiers were surrendering everywhere, laying down their weapons and asking for help. "You cannot have her," Commander Sektoth said. He raised his weapon toward Zara. "If I cannot take her back, then she dies here." But before he could fire, something unexpected happened. Dr. Velinara stepped forward, and her tentacle hair began to glow with psychic energy. "I have been studying humans for weeks," she said to Commander Sektoth. "Do you know what I learned?" The Syndicate commander hesitated, his weapon still aimed at Zara. "Humans do not bond the way other species do," Dr. Velinara continued. "They do not force their minds onto others. They create space for others to be themselves. And when they care about someone, they fight to protect them." As if to prove her point, Jake stepped directly in front of Commander Sektoth's weapon. "If you want to hurt her, you'll have to go through me." Captain Hayes and her team also moved forward, their weapons trained on the Syndicate soldiers. But it was Dr. Kethfer who spoke the words that changed everything. "Commander Sektoth," the Mantis doctor said, "look around you. Your soldiers have stopped fighting. They are remembering what it feels like to choose for themselves. Zara is not destroying their minds. She is freeing them. Through their bond." Jake felt Zara reach out even further with her abilities. But instead of the violent psychic attacks the Syndicate had trained her for, she was doing something much more powerful. She was giving people hope. Across the galaxy, on ships and stations where other Syndicate prisoners were being held, people began to feel something they had not felt in years: the possibility of freedom, the knowledge that someone cared about them. Commander Sektoth lowered his weapon slightly. For the first time, Jake could hear uncertainty in his voice. "This is not possible. Weapons do not heal. They destroy." "She was never a weapon," Jake said. "She's a healer, the strongest one in the galaxy." Zara looked at Jake with wonder. Through their connection, he could feel her understanding growing. All her life, people had told her she was broken, dangerous, something to be feared or fixed. But Jake saw her differently. "I can feel them," Zara whispered, "all across the stars. People who are hurt like I was hurt. People who have given up hope. Can you help them?" Jake asked. Zara nodded slowly. "With you to anchor me, I think I can reach them all." She closed her eyes and reached out with her mind further than she had ever tried before. Through their bond, Jake felt the incredible scope of what she was doing. She was touching thousands of minds across dozens of worlds, not to control them, but to remind them that they were not alone. On Syndicate prison ships, captives felt sudden hope and found a strength to break free. On conquered worlds, resistance fighters discovered new courage. Even some Syndicate leaders began to question what they were doing. Commander Sektoth staggered backward, his weapon falling from his hands. "What have you become?" "Free," Zara said simply. The remaining Syndicate soldiers in the room laid down their weapons. Some of them were crying, remembering families they had not seen in years or dreams they had given up. Captain Hayes spoke into her communication device. "All ships. This is Hayes. The Syndicate forces are surrendering. Begin rescue operations for their prisoners." "Captain," came a voice from her device, "we're getting reports from across the sector. Syndicate facilities are shutting down. Their soldiers are switching sides or just walking away." Jake felt Zara's exhaustion through their bond. What she had done was incredible, but it had taken almost all her strength. "Are you okay?" he asked her. Zara smiled, and her skin glowed with a soft, steady blue light. "I am better than okay. For the first time in my life, I feel whole." Dr. Velinara was staring at her readings in amazement. The psychic healing wave she just sent out will be felt for generations. Jake, do you understand what you two have done? We helped some people, Jake said. That's all. You have changed the galaxy, Dr. Kethver said. The healing techniques we learned from studying your bond will help millions of trauma victims. Commander Sektoth sat down heavily on the floor. Without his armor's voice enhancer, he sounded tired and old. 6 years I spent building an empire of fear, and one human and one broken girl destroyed it in minutes. She's not broken, Jake. Sighed. She never was. Captain Hayes walked over to them. Jake, we need to get you both to safety. There will be a lot of people who want to study what happened here. Only if Zara wants to, Jake said. No more forcing her to do things. Zara stood up slowly, still holding Jake's hand. I want to help, but I want to choose how. Then you will, Captain Hayes promised Dot as they walked out of the damaged room. Zara stopped and looked back at Commander Sektoth. The man who had tortured her, who had tried to turn her into a weapon, was sitting alone among his surrendered soldiers. What about him? She asked. Jake felt her thoughts through their bond. Despite everything Sektoth had done to her, Zara was thinking about helping him too. That's up to the courts, Captain Hayes said. But if you want to testify at his trial, you can. I want to offer him something else, Zara said. A chance to heal from what he did. Hurting people hurts the one who does it too. Jake squeezed her hand. That's very wise. I learned it from you, she said. 6 months later, Jake and Zara sat in a garden on Nexus Prime. The station had been rebuilt and expanded. Now it was not just a research facility, but a healing center for trauma victims from across the galaxy. Zara's skin glowed with healthy blue light as she worked with a young alien child whose mind had been damaged in a war. Through techniques developed from studying Jake and Zara's bond, the healing process was gentle and effective. How many today? Jake asked when Zara finished her session. 12, she said, sitting down beside him. And all of them are getting better. Jake smiled. I'm proud of you. I could not do it without you, Zara said, taking his hand. Their mental bond had only grown stronger over time. You showed me that being different does not mean being broken. You taught me something, too, Jake said. Sometimes the best way to fix the galaxy is just to care about one person at a time. Above them, ships from dozens of worlds came and went, bringing people who needed healing and taking home those who had found it. The Syndicate was gone, defeated not by weapons, but by the simple power of compassion. And in the garden, a human engineer and an Etherian healer sat together. Proof that sometimes the most broken things can become the most beautiful when they are given a chance to heal.